Hello everyone and welcome back to X-Plane 11 once again. Today we're going to check out the X-Crafts ERJ family. I will say right now that this was sent to me by X-Crafts so I could do a little review of it and tell you what I thought of it. It is a pretty expensive package. We'll get into that in my opinions on that, as well as the option to buy just a separate airplane for half the price. We'll get into that later on, but we're in a little ERJ 135 today, Contour Airlines. We're going to be flying from Fort Leonard Wood to St. Louis, a very short hop, 17,000 feet, a good enough time to get in here. We're going to do a cold and dark, fire up the system, so if you have this airplane, you can learn it yourself. And then we're going to use the included FMS and not the X-Plane one, and we'll talk a little bit about how much of a mess that thing kind of is. But I'm going to show you how I program a flight, and we'll get underway. So here is the X-Crafts ERJ 135. It is a beautiful model, as you can see. I mean, it is really, really well done. The texture work on it, the PBR, just everything about it screams, hey, I'm flying an ERJ. So I'm very, very impressed with that, to say the very least. So let's open up our little menu here. If we go to the left of the screen, we've got menu. And this is how you operate your ground stuff. So we have all of our covers and everything on. We can do remove before flight, turn those off. There is a bug that turns those on when you shut the engines down for some odd reason. I don't know why. Open the door here. We can open up our little baggage door back there so they can put bags in. You could open up this one as well if you would like. As you can see right here, this little side door. We're going to close that one for right now. We don't need it. And I'm not going to use the GPU because we're just going to fire up the APU. No need for anything else. We got FAQ here. This is a pretty interesting thing. I like the UI here. I like how it's, played out for you here. Hey, if you have any kind of questions, this is probably going to answer it for you, which is really cool. I do like, I wish more would, more developers would have something like that, a quick reference. FMS, like I said, it's pretty much a nightmare. You're going to see it in a minute. Checklist here. I like the checklist system here. It's really well done. We've got power up, before start, pre-flight, etc., etc., etc. We're not going to worry about the pre-flight stuff so much because it's not a whole lot to get this airplane up and running. And I will show you that here in just a second. Let's head up to the flight deck and check it out. Okay, welcome aboard the ERJ 135. You'll notice right off the bat, it's got those handlebar style yokes in it. Very interesting. It's an Embraer thing. But I like it. Apart from that, I mean, the texture work is really, really well done. Look at the attention to detail on so many things. There are quite a few little Easter eggs, little memes in this airplane. And you know me by now, I'm pretty much a no-nonsense type of pilot. So you'll see things like this. Calling anyone Shirley in the cockpit is not allowed. May the force be with you. I understand that. I have a sense of humor. There's a thing for the autopilot. There's AC/DC. It plays AC/DC music and stuff. I have a sense of humor, but when it comes to aviation, I wish I had a replica of the actual airplane, like just the regular placards, or give us an option for it. That is my opinion when it comes to that. So let's get the airplane all fired up. Look overhead panel here. Look at our overhead panel. Turn our batteries on. We're going to hear the beep, beep, beep sound.
Okay.
There we go. Those are all good. It's a dark cockpit system except for the AC panel, which I'll show you in a minute. That's going to go over to 1B, 1B. We'll turn those fuel pumps on. Avionics master can come on. Let's go ahead and put that to the on position. And you're going to notice that it's going to open up that little APU inlet. Oh, shut up. That APU. There we go right there. It's set to off. So now we can actually start it. So we'll go 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to hear the APU fire up. Release that. And we can see the APU is starting to come online. First things first, I'll hide this guy away. And down here I go to the map mode and I'll turn off all this crap we don't need. Airport, waypoint, VOR, NDB. Don't need it. That looks good to me. Here is your arch nemesis, the FMS in this airplane. It's pretty interesting. It is pretty interesting, I must say. You'll see that here in a few moments. Let's get some things ready to go here. Overhead panel lights. I wish the overhead panel lights and the panel lights themselves were a little more bright during the day. They're fantastic at night, but during the day, they're just not, 100%. especially when we're dealing with a overcast day like we are today. Turn all this stuff on, and we'll get the airplane up and running. The sounds in it are fantastic. I do like the sounds quite a bit. We'll turn that down. We don't need that up that much. Okay, so overhead panel back to here. I actually have a full overhead panel I can do here. There we go. In here, we've got our ice protection, stab, a wing, engine air inlet, all that's on. We're gonna just keep that off for now. Windshield heat can come on. We do want that on because black, it means that it's on. Now down here, it's opposite. The APU bleed, you want the light to be on and the packs themselves to be black to turn them on. So now there's AC pumping back there. Same thing with the engine bleeds. Electric pumps are off. Windshield wipers are off. Everything here is pretty darn good. Like you'll notice it's pretty straightforward when it comes to the overhead panel. We go down the left side here. Gens are good. Everybody's happy there. Avionics master. That is how it should be. Exterior lights. We turn the nav lights on. Fire test. Let's do it. Those are good and working. APU is online. Power plant's set to auto. FADEX are on alternate. Takeoff data is all good to go there. The start switches are guarded. Exterior lights off there. Flight controls are good. Hydraulics are off. Logo light, dome light, all that stuff. Fasten belts and no smoking. Those go on. Over here, that looks good. That's all there is to firing the airplane up as far as the systems go. Well, even starting the engines is even easier. So with that said, let's get started with our flight plan today. All right, so first thing is first. With this FMS, we're gonna hit initialize FMS. There we go, FMS data initialized. But next, what you need to do is just do your departure. I know it sounds very, very strange, or you can do perf first. I usually go in a page, perf, and then do the departure stuff. So let's go to perf. And here is our payload weight and fuel weight, V speeds and all this. So we're gonna change this based off of the data that I've been given by SimBrief. So SimBrief is going to be telling me that we are going to be getting 35 passengers today. So we'll put in 35, put that in right there. A payload weight of 7,900, so 7,900, set that. And fuel today with 2,000 extra is going to be 8,500. There we go. That's all good to go. So now we have our trim for 6 up. So if I pull the trim back, you'll notice here it's changing. And we want it to be 6 up. Now, the reason why she says that is because in case of, runaway trim, she doesn't want want you to get into that kind of situation. So V1 speed's 99, VR 105, V2 116. We're taking off on runway 14 out of here. That's good to go. And you go to perf 2 page, and this is where you put this stuff in. Cruise, we're gonna be doing 300. We'll put in there. Initial cruise altitude, we're just gonna climb to 17,000 initially, and finally. So that's good to go there. We can change our cruise wind direction and all that. Let's put that in. I'll grab that from Active Sky. Okay, at top of climb, our wind is gonna be 251 at 19. So 251, we'll put that in there, and that's at 19. I've been having some issues with the outside air temperature, so I'm just gonna leave it at 0. It's usually like -30 or whatever it is, but it won't let me take it for some reason. If I do like -33, it doesn't like it. It won't take it. So perf 3 is our landing stuff. We don't need to mess with that stuff. We can go back to the MCDU index. And this is where I'm not sure if you do perf before you do the departure, because you'll notice how it bitches at you. Hey, you don't have an airport in there. So let's go to departure, and departure airport is Kilo Tango Bravo November. There we go. Put that in there. Select runway 14, and we hit select SEL. SID, there is no SID in the transition. We're just going to file direct to coupe. So there is no SID, as you can see here, and there is no transition, as you see here. Just keeping everybody on board the same thing here. So that's good to go. MCDU index. We can do the route. There is no route today. We're just going to go direct to coupe. We could put it in that way if we would like, but it requires 2 fixes, so I'm not going to do it that way. We're going to do the arrival into St. Louis, which is KSTL. In a future flight, I'll show you what I'm talking about, but this is a first look at this airplane. STL, we're gonna be landing on 12 right. So we go down arrow to 12 right, hit select. The star is the coupe. Hit next so we can see coupe. Here it is right here. The coupe 1 arrival, my friends. And that is going to be no transition. Just all. There we go. Select him. That's good to go there. And we can go to the select approach transition. It should just be coupe, but I don't think we're gonna have to worry about it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So no transition on that. Approach is gonna be ILS 12 right approach. Select him. That's all there is to it. So we go back to MCDU index, and now we can go to the route page, route edit page, and have a look. Oh no, route not loaded. We hit execute on one of these guys. There we go. Execute. Flight plan execute is done. Now, if we want to check out our route, we can go to the progress page and then go to flight plan. Once you're in here, now you can see the fixes. And if we put this into plan mode, we can kind of step through it just by going down the list. So we're going to go direct out of here to coupe. This is the departure heading they want us to go to. We don't need that, actually. We can just go direct to coupe. And I think that's what we're going to end up doing. So I'll show you how to edit that in a minute. So we go coupe and then we go Kayla. Kayla is the, we got to cross that at 11,000 feet since we're landing south. So there is Kayla. There's Forstel, VOR, Augst, then Snyder, radar vectors after that, out to Nairn, and then we'll pick up the ILS into 12 right. Pretty simple. We don't need him. So what I want to do is I want to select that, and we don't need VDEP. We'll just delete it. There we go. We're just going to go direct on out to coupe. That's all we need to do here. So we go back to Prog 1, MCDU index. I like to have this on perf page, so I have that. Set U there. Let's just climb on out of here to 17,000 feet initially. We'll turn our flight directors on. And altitude select here. You'll see it change right here. We'll go up to 17,000. There we go. That's good. We're not going to be climbing with FLC. In the real airplane, you would climb with FLC after 10,000 feet. We're not doing that because right now the flight model loves to just skyrocket this thing. So we're going to climb out actually at vertical speed at about 2,000 feet per minute initially, and we'll change it as we go. We'll just manually handle. This airplane has no auto throttles in it, but it does have a fake one, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with that later. So that's good to go there. We don't need the auto damper yet. We're going to go to nav mode on this guy, and we're going to select FMS. You'll notice how it just changed to pink. That's what we want there. Heading, we're just going to dial in 140 just because. There we go. Just in case we lose something. So that's good to go there. I'm happy with the panel there. And we're ready to get underway with firing the engines up. I know it takes a little bit of time for everything in pre-flight, but honestly, with this airplane, it doesn't take long at all. Well, it looks like the skies have cleared up quite a bit. Let's go ahead and close up everything. We're going to pull those chocks and everything, close the door. We've got our people on board. We'll close that back door there as well. And we can start our before start checklist. All right, before start checklist. Electrical panel is set. Emergency lights, I don't know if we have those armed yet. Let's see those. Go to the armed position. There they are, they're armed. Fuel panel is set. Fire detection, we've already checked it. Power plant panel is set. Electric pump system 1 is checked. Electric pump system 1 and 2 is off. Passenger signs are set. Ice protection panel is set. Air conditioning pneumatic panel is good to go. Display control panel set. Flight instruments, we need to check that next and grab our altimeter. All right, altimeter is 29908 here at the airport. There we go. Flight instruments are checked and set. RMU set. Thrust levers are at idle. We're going to double check and make sure we're on takeoff here. You'll notice here on the FADEC system for these engines, we need to be in takeoff mode. There we go. Pressurization panel, we need to do that next. I have that back here. Yep. You'll notice it right down here. So we're going to go up to 17,000 feet. There we go. Fuel quantity is checked. We've got right here, we're supposed to have that much, and we've got it right there. We can see it. Doors and windows are closed. Takeoff briefing. We're not worried about it today. Fuel pump power is on 1B. Red beacon's going to come on next. I'm using my Thrustmaster HOTAS, so now I can just turn on the beacon very easily like this, which is wonderful. If you don't turn on the red beacon, you will get a warning, and it'll bitch at you. Emergency parking brake is set. All right, let's go to we're ready to start. Easy enough. Okay. So let me go ahead and put the checklist away, and I'll show you how easy it is to fire up the engine. So we want to turn off the packs, of course. There we go. We want 3 white on the bottom, and we're going to start engine 2 first. I do have a switch I can just use on my HOTAS for that, so I'm going to do that. We're going to hold it for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We just switch that guy over, and we can see we've got N2 at 55%. ITT is climbing. Make sure we don't get a hot start here. We got N1 rotation, and looks like we have a good start on the right side. And you'll notice here, you can just, you could just do it this way too. You go to run and then start that way, but I'll show you what exactly happens whenever I do it. So I go to the start position on that, hold it down for 5 seconds. And we got engine 1 coming online now. And if we look at our checklist here on engine startup, fuel pumps are on. APU, we've already had that running. Ignition was auto. Hydraulic pumps are all off. Packs are off. Engine bleed 1 and 2's off. And APU bleed is on. Light on. See how it says light on that one? Engine 2, yeah, we did that. APU bleed will go to off position after this is good to go, which 29.3 on both sides looks good to me. And the packs will come on. So let's go. APU bleed will come off. Turn our packs on. Turn the bleeds on. Those are good to go, and we can kill the APU. We don't need him anymore. That's all there is to it. After start checklist is next. Ground equipment's removed. Electrical panel is set. APU is required. Electric hydraulic pumps, we're going to put those to auto. There we go. Close him. Windshield heating as required. That is on. Windshield should be on, and it is right there. Air condition pneumatic panel is set. Flaps, we're going to set those to 9 for departure. Here it coming down, and we can see how they're green, so they're in transit, and they are set flaps 9. Flight controls, we're going to check those guys. We got left, we got right, we got forward, we got back, we got right rudder, we got left rudder. Flight controls are free and correct. We're ready to taxi on down to runway 14. Let's do it. All right, we got our strobe lights on right now. We are going to taxi down to 14, and we'll turn around down there. The strobes should be on. There we go. A bit more power here. And we back taxi on the runway, and we'll do a 180, and we'll be ready to get on out of here. All right, before takeoff checklist, takeoff minimum fuel quantity, it's already been verified. Takeoff briefing, not worried about it. Ice protection test, we've already taken care of all that earlier. Brakes temperatures are good. ICAS is checked. Transponder goes to TARA. Let's go ahead and click that to number 3. Takeoff config, we hit this once.
Takeoff okay.
Gust lock is unlocked. It's automatic. You don't have to touch it. Elevator is good to go. All All right, almost down here to the bottom. If you want to know where the center line is in this airplane, I use the TGT, the target right there. That is the one I use. I don't know if it's called target. I just call it my target, but TGT is where the center line is for the nose. And we're just going to do a 180 down here off the threshold. We'll be ready to go. So we just turn our inspection light comes on. Landing lights, we're going to turn those on now. There they go. And we're ready to rock and roll here. Come over here to the right. And this thing turns on a dime. It really does. There we go. It's all the way left. One thing that's fun about the regional airlines is that, man, you get to fly into some cool airports, some smaller airports than you normally would. All right. I'm going to bring my my head view up a little bit because it's a little low for me. There we go. So what I do is I just bring them forward, let them stabilize, and then all you have to do is just firewall them, man, because that's what the FADEX do. Those are good, and let's set them for takeoff. Full power. And full forward on our yoke. Airspeed's alive. $80 knots cross-checked.
V1.
V1.
Rotate.
Rotate.
V2.
Positive brake, gear up. And just like that, we're in the air. We'll hit ET on our clock, too. Shouldn't take us very long to get up to St. Louis today. Climbing through 3,400 feet. We're going to start pulling our power back a little bit here, and we're going to clean our flaps up. Bringing them up now. And we're continuing our left turn, and we're going to go direct to coupe. Keep the climb going. If you even get 1 knot over 250, it's going to give you an alert. So we're going to pull our power back a little bit here. You already know that it's coming. And this thing is just such a dream to hand fly. It really is. I do love flying this airplane. It's made about 2,000 feet per minute. This is working out pretty good for us here. About 6,000 feet now. We'll start rolling off here, keeping the climb going. Holding about 246, 247. And now we're on a good intercept path for our navigation. And we'll turn the autopilot on so we do that. Flying through the clouds here. A bit more power than that. Get a little bit closer to the magenta line before we do it. Let me turn our nose light off too. I love having all my switches right here on my Warthog HOTAS. All right, once that needle starts moving over, I'm going to switch on the autopilot and she's going to fly it. No problem. More left. There we go. Flying that flight director a little bit better. Kind of intercept it just like an ILS. Really fun plane to fly, though. I've got to say that. Once we get up at cruise, we'll talk a little bit more about the package and my opinion of that. And it's moving right there. Let's go ahead and turn the autopilot on. Airplane will pick up that and make a right turn. We'll add our power. We're at 9,000 feet right now. Not too much power here, though. And just keep right under 250 knots. And what we can do is we forgot to change our FADEC to climb. That'll help us from being too overpowered. Here's the turn right there. 9,600 feet. Looking good. Here comes 10,000 feet. Turn our lane lights come off. And we turn off the inspection light as well. There we go. And we're going to increase speed now to 280 knots. Now, since I want to get, outside views and wing views and stuff, I'm going to show you how you can set your auto throttle, because the real airplane, like I said, does not have an auto throttle system in it. I'm bringing it up to 280 knots. And then after, because we're not going to be going Mach speed today. We're just going to go to 300 today, since we're only going to 17,000 feet. So there's 280 right there. You can hit this little screw right there and check that out. It turns green, and now you have that. We're 11,700, looking good. Oh, no. That's going to set my speed to this, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Hold on. Let me set it back to 280. There we go. Yeah, 280 is good on that now. So now we go back to B speed. And it should be fine. So now we have that. We can turn the auto throttle on like that, and now it will hold 280 knots, no problem. One to go. And then we will increase our speed to 300 knots. As simple as that. We are looking 32 nautical miles to Coop. Like I said, it's a very short flight. That's what we like. Beautiful day here in Missouri. The storms are all staying south of us. I did see on the radar. So here's 17,000 feet. We don't even have to change our altimeter. We'll just look at what the arrival altimeter is in St. Louis once we get closer. That is pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and go back to speed mode, and we're going to set it to 300. There's 300 right there. And that will be a good cruise for us today. Short flight, so let's go ahead and turn our seatbelt sign off. There we go. Kind of hard to click those guys. And we're at cruise. All right, we're 20 nautical miles to Coop right now. Cruising along here. And we have a nice 19-knot tailwind that's going to get there even quicker. Look at the Missouri River right off our nose here. That's, I believe, Jefferson City right there. You can see how it goes all the way around that way. We'll make our right-hand turn. We'll head out. And you'll see Spirit of St. Louis on the way in, too. I'll be sure to point that out. So what I wanted to talk about was the price point of this airplane. It's $90 for the entire set of airplanes, and that is insanely high, in my opinion, for what you get with the airplane. You can buy individual airplanes for $45, and honestly, I'd pick an ERJ that you like and go that route rather than buying the whole family. Now, with the family, you get the 135, the 145, the 145XS with the winglets. You get the Legacy as well, which is the business jet version of the airplane. So there are some things you do get out of it, but in my opinion, I would either wait for a price drop on it or, just buy the individual airplane, because, getting a default FMS system, and this one is very, very counterintuitive. It's not very good. I'll say that. It needs a lot of work to get where it should be, if you're paying that price for the airplane. That's my opinion on it. I don't think it should be $90 for the family. But regardless, I really enjoy it. I like flying it. It has problems, yes. Like I said, the vertical speed, because normally you'll fly in FLC mode here on your climb after 10,000 feet, and it doesn't want to really do that. It wants to climb at like 5,000 feet per minute, like a rocket ship. So perhaps it's a little overpowered. I think so. Very short cruise. Once we get over Coop, we'll make that right-hand turn towards Kayla, and we'll descend down to 11,000 feet. We can start getting our ILS stuff ready for St. Louis. So approach here for 12 right. ILS 12 right is going to be 109.7. So let's do 109.7 here. Wait, it's 9 there, and we'll put 7. We'll swap those. I'll put them on both sides just in case. 109.7. There's our turn. There we go. Those are good to go. And approach course is 123. We'll get that in a minute. 123. We have 25 miles to get down to 11,000 feet. So let's go ahead and take our altitude selector. And we're going to go down to 11,000. And I'm going to wait till we're done with this turn, and then we'll start our way down. It's, like I said, a very short flight. But it's a real life flight, believe it or not. Seatbelt signs come on. Roll off right over the Missouri River. That looks so cool. All right, we're starting our descent down 1,200 feet per minute. So I put it into vertical speed mode, and we turn it down to 1,200. Altitude is selected to 11,000, and I'm going to pull the power back. There we go. And you'll notice the airplane has drag. It does slow down quite a bit. Okay, I don't know what the weather's doing. It shouldn't be updating that often. I don't know. Thank you, Active Sky. Pickle weather. I mean, geez. It shouldn't change by the time we get to St. Louis, so that's good. We are in a descent down to 11,000 feet. We're just about to Kayla intersection here. If we zoom in, there we go. We just crossed over it. We're 11,500. That's okay. We'll continue our descent downward. Next is Forestell VOR, and then we go to Augst. Let's keep on descending. We'll descend and maintain 8,000 next. Looking good there. Breaking through the clouds. And we're going to slow down to 250, of course. Almost there. We'll turn that inspection light on, and we'll turn our landing lights on as well as we hit 10,000 feet. Those are good. So we'll be at 10,000 here in any moment. We're in the clouds. There we go. That worked out just fine. A little bit more power in, not much. We can keep it on continuous. Now, whenever I was up at altitude, I did hit it to cruise. But we're going to go to continuous now, since we're going to need continuous thrust for our landing. Add a little bit more power here. Break through the clouds. Below 10,000 feet. What we're going to do is we're going to go out to Augst, and then we're going to make a left, and we're going to go pick up the ILS. We don't need to go down that far. So 4,500 to Pauley. Nairn is at 3,600, so we'll descend and maintain 3,600. And to do that, these are bugged out, like as far as like the altitude selector. You can't really go to like hundreds, you know? So to change that, we can do is go to the MCDU index and go to autopilot. Let me put 36 in here manually and target altitude that. There we go. Now we're at 30. Now we'll go down to 3,600, no problem. Watching our speed as we come on down, pull back a little bit so we don't overspeed. And we'll get ready for our radar vectors here. Out to the ILS. So we're going to cross that first. Hello, St. Louis. How are you today? Spirit of St. Louis Airport right there. I'm coming right over O'Fallon, Missouri, right here off our nose. A little bit more power here. Not too much needed. All right, we're on a nice right base here. Let's go ahead and get our heading over to this way. This will be a nice intercept this way. And what we need to do now is go to nav. So we're on the ILS. That's good to go there. We're at 3,600. Let's start slowing down about 180 for our intercept. We don't need to be going too fast here. Just kind of giving myself radar vectors. ATC would do that in real life. It's looking pretty good there. Let's go ahead and one more final one. Like I said, about 078 is what they said on the chart. That'll be good. That'll be our final intercept course. Ooh, pull power back a little bit here. And we can see we're 14 miles to the runway. Got the runway inside actually right there. Let's go ahead and arm the approach. Approach is armed. We can turn off the yaw damper. And the localizer's alive. Pull our power back a little bit more here. We'll go flaps 9, speed checks. We got the runway in sight. An 18 knot crosswind. Welcome to St. Louis. Waiting for the glide slope to come down. Once we grab the glide slope, we'll go ahead and go gear down. And we're ready to land here. Checklist for landing. Landing gear will be down, flaps will be set, lights, and yaw damper off. Yep, that's pretty much it. Pretty much it. Here comes the glide slope alive, gear down. Flaps 22, speed checks. Pull our power back, and we're gonna aim for about 125 on RV ref. As the airplane pitches down. And we start to slow this puppy baby. Slow this baby down. All right, gears down so we can turn the landing lights are all on. We've got the nose gear light on. Just making sure that's actually on. There we go. And they are. They were on the whole time. It was just, I don't know. The switches on the HOTAS just kind of flick them just a little bit. I don't know if that's a bug or what. Keep slowing her down. See downtown St. Louis off in the distance. Another bug I have encountered with this airplane, it doesn't happen with other people, but the auto brakes or the spoilers are supposed to automatically deploy on landing. And for me, they don't do it. I have to do it manually, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Just a little pain in the butt. Nice and stable here. A little bit more power. A little more power like that. This is a fun flight. Really quick. Time to kind of showcase the plane a little more depth than what we normally do. Pull our power back here. Man, yeah, it's gusty coming into St. Louis. Gusty, gusty. You see that nose hunting back and forth. Airplane's searching for that. That's why I haven't taken off the autopilot just yet. Trying to get a little more stabilized our speed first. Power a little bit more. Trying to keep some decent speed towards the airport here. More power in that. There we go. All right. My airplane.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
I have the airplane. Oh yeah, nice and gusty. The winds are only 8, but they are gusting up. The 15 it says on the METAR. The METAR. So I'm keeping a little extra speed in there just because of the gusts. You don't want to get caught out on this airplane. Good about right here.
Minimums. Minimums.
Landing. Going over the numbers here. Flow too much in that wind. There we go. Flight down, reversers out. Did the speed brakes come out? They did this time. I'll be damned. Oops. Let's pay attention to what we're doing here. And we'll clear them at 60. There we go. Well, welcome to St. Louis, folks. I can't believe they deployed. I just talked about that, and they actually deployed on their own. They haven't done that for like every flight I've done. That's so strange. So very strange. We can make this turn no problem. Problem at all. We turn our landing lights off. We'll turn our strobes off. And we'll bring up those flaps. Go into the B gates. Or C gates, actually. So back kind of where Frontier and all them park. And we'll start that APU up here in a minute. We'll turn our live traffic back on. I turned it off for the landing. Here we go, and start that APU. Put it to the on position first, remember? Gotta wait for that to go away. The yellow light, like that. And now we can start it. 1, 2, 3. 3. So yeah, we'll be flying this airplane some more. Next time we won't be going in depth with the pre-flight. If I do have the route part of the flight, I will show you that. But next time, prepare to be ready to go, and we'll push back from the gate. Some of you may be excited. I got some Canadian ortho. We'll be flying in Canada soon. We will. All right, let's taxi into the ramp. Let's come to a stop right there. Pull the parking brake right there. All right, and we can just kill these guys. What are you doing? There we go. Those are over to that. Did we ever start that APU? Yes, we did. All right, we're good to go on all of that. And then the beacon light comes off. And that is all there is to it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to St. Louis. I hope you enjoyed your flight today. I will see you next time. Take care.